Hi everyone and welcome. I'm Rosemary and in today's video I have more dollar dinners, but this time we're moving on to Walmart where I shop their absolute lowest priced items to come up with some extreme budget meals that are not only cheap eats, but also quick and easy to prepare and oh yeah, delicious and pretty too. I'd like to start with this meaty and delicious bolognese sauce over pasta, but some introductions first. This is my dad, Al, holding my son, Matt, when he was a baby, in a seasonally timely pumpkin costume. Pop-Pop here was a professional chef for over 50 years and happened to make one mean bolognese. Our little pumpkin here would grow up to follow in Pop-Pop's footsteps, maybe not professionally, but as one incredible home chef who also makes a fabulous bolognese. Now, of course, as a single man and a big-time foodie, Matt's ingredients and preparation methods tend to be a little bit on the extravagant side, but I asked him to adapt his ingredients and preparation to bring them a little more in line with the rest of us and both our stressed-out schedules and pocketbooks. So from Walmart, I picked up a can of generic tomato paste and crushed tomatoes, some Walmart Parmesan cheese, an onion, 3 cloves of garlic, a bag of baby carrots, which I chose for both quickness and ease, and I'll talk about that more in a minute, and then a pound of penne pasta and a 20-ounce container of ground turkey. I wanted to go with turkey instead of the traditional beef for multiple reasons. First, the turkey is $1 less per package. In addition, the pack of turkey contains 20 ounces of meat versus the 16 ounces in a pack of beef, so that's a full quarter pound more. Plus, you're getting a greater meat to fat ratio at 85 to 15 versus 80 to 20 in the beef. But maybe more importantly, although both meats will cook in relatively the same amount of time, turkey does have a more mild flavor, so it tends to absorb the flavors of the other ingredients more quickly, which made Matt more agreeable to reducing his cook time to about 30 minutes versus the 3 hours plus time that young foodie bachelors apparently seem to have. However, there still was another issue in reducing the cook time, and that was how to get the carrots tender. One option would have been to cut the carrots extra small, almost minced, but that's where Matt drew the line. He was like, yep, no way, that bite-sized carrot morsel, that's one of my favorite parts of this dish. And then I remembered a little hack I've done in the past when pressed for time but wanting to add fresh carrots to a dish. I simply quick steam them in the microwave by placing the raw carrots in a dish, and I'm using about half of the bag here. I'll use the other half in the next recipe, which is actually the dish I've done this steam method for in the past. Then I'll add 3 tablespoons of water, cover with another dish, and microwave on high about 3 minutes depending on the microwave. The dishes tend to get very hot when in the microwave, so be sure to use towels or mitts to remove. I want them to be just slightly softened. Since I do want most of the cooking to be done in the sauce, I just want to help them along a little bit. Otherwise, cooking in the sauce is going to take an hour plus to get them tender. So I'll just remove those from the plate and let them rest a little while I chop up the onion and mince the garlic, then go back and cut those into those bite-sized pieces, and you can see how they're even easier to cut now. And I'll just set these aside for now and get the pot of salted water on for the pasta. Now that the preps were done, Matt was ready to start the sauce. He placed the pan on the stove and brought it up to medium-high heat. When the pan was hot, he added 2 tablespoons of oil. Then when that was hot, he added the turkey. He told me he likes to press the meat into the bottom of the pan to get it nice and brown on the one side. Then flip it more or less in solid pieces to the other side. Once that side is brown, he likes to break it up, and then once cooked through, he removes the turkey from the pan, leaving the juices. He then added another 2 tablespoons of oil to the pan and again brought that back up to medium-high heat and then added the onions and carrots, and at this stage also likes to add about 1/4 teaspoon of red pepper. And then cooks this mixture until the onions become translucent, about 5 minutes. He then added the garlic and cooked that for another minute or 2. Next came 2 tablespoons of the tomato paste, and once that was mixed in, the can of crushed tomatoes, followed by the cooked turkey. At this stage, the water was boiling, so in went the penne and then gave it a good stir. Now back to the sauce, where he added the spices, including 1/4 teaspoon black pepper, and then 1/2 teaspoon each salt, oregano, parsley, and rosemary. Then let that cook over medium heat while the pasta cooked about 15 minutes. Right before the pasta was done, he removed the sauce from the heat and added in 1/4 cup of the grated Parmesan cheese, gave it a good stir, then adjusted for salt and pepper to taste. Next, he added the drained pasta, gave it all a good stir, and his revised time and budget-friendly pasta bolognese was finito. And oh my goodness, this came out so delicious. As expected, the less dense turkey meat absorbed the tomato and seasonings much quicker than the beef, and that extra quarter pound added to the overall meatiness of the dish. We were able to keep the carrots at normal size, but they were still nice and tender thanks to a little help from the microwave. As for the cost breakdown, the turkey, tomatoes, cheese, vegetables, pantry items, and pasta all total $9.98. And since we can get 6 large adult servings, the total per serving comes out to just $1.66. What a deal for a hearty and nutritious meal. Next up, we have the dish that I actually used to use that steamed carrot hack for, Cajun Jambalaya. Even though I grew up on the East Coast and spent most of my life there, I have lived for the past 17 years in Texas, with 15 of those years on the Texas Gulf Coast. And what I found is that Cajun culture and food is very prominent all along the Gulf Coast, even well into Texas. There are even big celebrations for Mardi Gras, so we often found ourselves hosting many family and friends in for the festivities. So I needed fast and affordable meals to feed large groups, and this jambalaya was always a go-to for at least one meal. Since I didn't have much time between the entertaining and the festivities, I would always employ the help of a jambalaya dinner mix, like this family-size one from Walmart, for just $2.74. Technically, you could just add some cooked meat like chicken, sausage, shrimp, or ham and cook the jambalaya according to package directions. But I always like to do a little doctoring up, so in addition to the meat, I would also add some fresh veggies like the carrots, onion, and garlic. To make it quick and still get the carrots tender, I steam them in the microwave like in the last recipe. Let cool while I chop the onion and garlic, then cut the slightly tender carrots into tidbits, then set the veggies aside. As for the meat, I decided to use ham, and this 2-pack of ham steaks for just $3.98 are perfect. Another quick, easy, and economical option would be smoked sausage, also $3.98 per pack. Now, traditionally, jambalaya is made with a spicy Cajun ham called tasso, and if you like spicy, here's a quick hack to turn your ham steak into a quasi-form of tasso. Just take your ham steaks and sprinkle with some cayenne pepper. Then fry the steaks over medium-high heat for a few minutes on each side. Now, if you're not a fan of spicy, you can definitely omit the cayenne, but to get that improved texture and taste, I would still suggest frying the ham steaks just without the cayenne. When they were nice and brown, I removed them from the pan, then added in a tablespoon of butter. Once that was melted, I added the carrots and onion and sautéed for about 4 or 5 minutes, then added the garlic and sautéed that for another minute or so. Next, I added in the ham that I had cut into cubes, then the jambalaya mix and 3 3/4 cups of water, and gave it all a good mix. Once that came to a boil, I reduced the heat to a simmer, covered, and let it cook until the rice was cooked about 25 minutes. And that's it, a quick, easy, and tasty meal which you can make spicy or not in one pan, complete with a protein, starch, and veggies. And as for the cost breakdown, the ham steaks, jambalaya mix, veggies, and butter total $8.04. And since we get 6 large adult servings, that comes to just $1.34 a serving. I'd like to take a quick second here to thank everyone who has liked, commented on, and shared the previous videos in this series. The response and support from you, the viewers, has been incredible. And since YouTube continues to unfortunately throttle this channel and limit content distribution, that's the only way I know you're enjoying and want more of these videos. So, if you wouldn't mind, please again comment below. Just a simple more or even just an emoji would be great to let me know to keep on doing these videos. Thanks! For our next Walmart extreme budget meal, we head back to the Northeast and my Italian heritage for some pasta e fagioli, or as we always called it, pasta Vazo. To make this classic pasta and beans dish, I picked up a 12-ounce package of bacon for $4.97, but I'll only be using 5 slices for this dish, and I'll use the rest in the next meal. 2 cans of cannellini beans, a medium onion, 3 cloves of garlic, and one of these 7-ounce bags of La Moderna pasta. Now, traditionally, this dish uses Italian pasta like tubetti or ditalini, but these mini shells will work just fine. To start, I took 5 slices of bacon and sliced it into small pieces. I also diced the onion and minced the garlic. As for the beans, I opened both cans, drained one, and left one with the liquid in. Next, I took a large pot and placed it on the stove over medium heat, and when hot, added the bacon pieces to gently cook and render the fat. After about 5 minutes, a good portion of the fat had rendered and the bacon was beginning to crisp. At this stage, I added the onions and let those cook a few minutes, Then added the garlic. At this point, you could add a few tablespoons of tomato paste, and if you have it on hand, especially if you made or plan to make the penne bolognese recipe from earlier in this video. But my grandmother always made this without tomatoes, so I'm going to keep true to that original version and omit the tomato. However, I will add a few sprinkles of hot pepper seed, but that's totally optional. After that cooked for a minute, I added the 2 cans of beans, one drained and one not drained. After that, I added in 5 cups of water and then gave it a good stir. I then let that come up to a simmering boil, and at that point, I removed 4 or 5 spoonfuls of the beans from the pot. And what I want to do here is give the warm beans a little mash. This is going to act as a sauce thickener, and then I add it back to the pot. From there, I'll add the uncooked pasta right from the bag, give that a stir, then season with 1 tablespoon parsley and salt and pepper to taste. Then I'll let everything cook until the pasta is done, about 10 minutes. Now, it is important that you do stir frequently as the pasta cooks to keep the pasta from sticking. Once the pasta was tender, I took the pot off the heat and added 1/4 cup Parmesan cheese and mixed in thoroughly. You can then adjust further for salt and pepper to taste. The result will be a delicious pasta and bean dish in a rich, smoky, bacon-studded sauce. Now, you will see that many versions of this dish are tomato-based and more soup-like, but I prefer this thicker, tomato-less version, just like Grandma used to make. As for the cost breakdown, the bacon, beans, pasta, cheese, and veggies total $5.09. And since this dish again makes 6 servings, the cost per meal is only 84 cents. For the last meal, let's head back down to the Gulf Coast for a Cajun classic, shrimp and grits. And for this quick, easy, and delicious Walmart budget meal, I picked up a bag of extra large frozen peeled shrimp for just $5.38, some quick grits, the remainder of the package of the bacon, or 7 slices, a bunch of scallions, a clove of garlic, some lemon juice, and 3 tablespoons of butter. And also 1 8-ounce bag of sharp shredded cheddar cheese, which I forgot to put in the original shot. To quick defrost the shrimp, I placed the shrimp in a colander and rinsed for about a minute, then left it to further defrost and drain in the sink. Next, I started the grits by placing 4 cups of water and a 1/4 teaspoon salt in a saucepan over high heat to boil. In the meantime, I took the 7 slices of bacon and cut those into pieces. Then heated a frying pan up to medium heat and added the bacon to render and crisp. Once the water was boiling, I added 1 cup of grits and stirred well, then reduced the heat to medium-low, covered, and let cook about 5 minutes. And since I had a few minutes here, I took the opportunity to slice my scallions and mince my garlic. Once the bacon was starting to crisp and had rendered most of its fat, I pushed it around the edges of the pan to make space for the shrimp. I then took the defrosted and drained shrimp that I had patted a little more dry with some paper towel and placed that in the pan. I let those cook on that side about 5 minutes or until golden brown, then flip to the other side and let cook for a few more minutes until golden brown on that side. At this point, the grits were done, so I took them off the heat and mixed in the butter and the bag of cheese, then stirred until smooth. Now that the shrimp was nice and pink, I added the scallions and garlic and cooked another 2 minutes or so. And then that's it. Add some grits to a bowl and spoon on a heaping portion of the shrimp mixture on top. My bag had 27 shrimp in it, so I was able to get at least 6 extra large shrimp per portion with a couple to spare for the cook. As for the cost breakdown, for the shrimp, grits, bacon, cheese, vegetables, and butter, the total was $12.46. And since this only makes 4 adult-sized portions, the per meal cost is $3.11, making this by far the most expensive meal, not just of this video, but of the entire series. However, if you put it in perspective, most frozen entrees these days are running more than that for half the food and a fraction of the taste. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this 3rd episode of the Budget Meal series. If you'd like to check out the other episodes in the series, you can click here. Or if you'd like to see other content from the channel, here's another choice. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.